Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining another episode of the Emergence Show, where we talk about the latest and greatest in emerging tech and immersive experiences. We have talked about different aspects of this world, and we had, a lot of great thought leaders in this space, but we haven't really, gone deep into the music world. And I have a very special guest today that I've known from almost the beginning of me getting into the space of metaverse, Web3, immersive experiences. She's been such an inspiration for many of us in this space. And she's created such an amazing avatar and such an amazing story that it even got her so many amazing awards, including the Music Metaverse Award from the Metaverse Entertainment World Summit, and that was awarded by the conference founder, who's the son of producer of James Bond franchise. She's amazing. There's so much to be talked about, but I want to let her introduce herself. Thank you so much for being with us, Sammy Vinci, and I am so grateful for you to be here. Thank you for your time. Let us know more about yourself.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. And I know we've known each other for years, right? It's crazy. And so congratulations on all the work you're doing with the show and being in the space. I love your thought leadership. So thank you for the really warm introduction. Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy, right? The journey has grown so much since when it started. I started in 2018 with Vinci, creating this digital avatar identity because I was looking for an alter ego persona for all my music. And so I came up with this superheroine character, and I knew she was futuristic, and I was also into AI at the time back in 2018 after reading this book called The Singularity is Near by Ray Kurzweil. And I was thinking about the technological singularity and what does that mean for the future of humanity. And I love franchises and, epic characters that are inspiring and having that ability to express oneself, through art and creativity. So those were the sort of musings and thoughts that allowed me and empowered me to create this character avatar identity. And since then, it's been a journey through all forms of media beyond then the music. So then we got into the gaming and Unreal Game Engine, and then I started exploring motion capture because I wasn't a traditional animator at the time, and I'm happy to talk about this later in your show, to actually animate this character live in real time and create virtual engagement with my fans and audience. And then it expanded to then building this epic live stage show, which has been a huge journey. It feels like a space opera story because Vinci, she's the protagonist of a larger universe, of a larger narrative and story. And I wrote a science fiction novel, and I'm really excited because it's going to be launched to the moon, but more on that later. And it's funny, if I heard all of these things as I was creating it, like I wouldn't have believed this was possible or any of it would have happened. But I hope this story is inspiring to people to be able to write your own narrative and write your own destiny through the power of creativity. And I think that's what I saw in the character and the branding and what the Vinci franchise stood for. It's empowering yourself through creativity.
Wow, that's so powerful. Amazing. I didn't know about all of this, so a surprise for me as well. Thank you for sharing. This is so inspiring. I want to take a moment and thank our audience for being here. Thank you, Warren, for your great comments. And I appreciate you every time, you all. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put it in the chat. We'll get to as many as we can. And yes, you're amazing. So in terms of this character, I want to go a little bit more, but anytime you want to share any of those amazing videos, let me know and I will share it.
Sure.
But yeah, so tell us more about this character. So you mentioned the general concept. Where did the name come from? Tell us more about this story. And how can people go about making their avatar or alter ego?
Yeah, I think the magic in Vinci is that it's what it stands for and it's the storytelling. Because we see today it's quite easy to create avatar characters from 3D modeling. We've got metahumans and real-time lifelike creations. I think the thing that drew me into the Vinci project from the beginning was an opportunity to build a whole universe and a story. And so the name Vinci was inspired by Leonardo da Vinci, who was a polymath. And so that was the aspiration originally for the name, because it's pursuing all forms of art and creativity. And I started out in the music industry, and I found it was quite siloed, right? You had songwriters, music producers, and traditional ways of releasing music on streaming platforms. But I kind of wanted to approach things differently. And so, you know, you would look at it's not necessarily new. Like you have the Gorillaz, even Daft Punk kind of had this branding identity, but taking it a step further of getting into gaming and having this transferable character between platforms, and then building like this mythology and storytelling and merchandising around her was my North Star for the project. And I was always drawn to brains like a George Lucas, or, you know, this Walt Disney idea of, you know, building franchises and stories. So Vinci is kind of like the Luke Skywalker, and that's where I started off in the project. And then I ended up discovering all these other characters and interactions for Vinci in this universe, and then exploring ways to engage the audience that hasn't been done before, which I'm really excited to talk about later in the show in terms of, you know, the future of shows and fan engagement. But in terms of Vinci specifically, yeah, she was created in 2018. I started off with putting her in Unreal Game Engine, and I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest. Like, I'm a self-taught, so I was, you know, looking at ways to animate her, you know, using traditional retargeting and things like that, and teach myself Maya. I got a bit frustrated with the process, which is why I got into motion capture, because it was the easiest way to animate her live. And so I got the Rococo motion capture set, which is great for indies. And I started engaging with people live as Vinci, which I thought was quite different at the time, in terms of approaching it more from a VTuber aspect. So during the lockdown era, I started a show called what was it? Future Humans. And yeah, and that was a way of Vinci kind of engaging with humans and talking about the latest technological trends. So at the time, it was the excitement, you know, around the metaverse and things like that, and NFTs, of course. So that's where things started to really take off for Vinci in terms of being an engaging, real-time persona that people would recognize. And I believe persistency is key. So having, you know, a recognizable aesthetic. People, you know, if they see it that many times, they'll be like, I recognize that character, and they've got that recognition. Like, that's Vinci.
That's amazing. I want to show a clip to whoever is not familiar with Vinci and this amazing show. I remember this show. That's how I kind of got to know more about you and a lot of other folks that you were interviewing. So amazing about that. And I love what you said about consistency and building a world around it, because it's so easy, as you said, create a character, put a name out there, but you have to stay consistent and keep giving these data points that then people can connect the points. So let's take a watch of a little bit of this show, and you can tell us more about it as well.
It's about understanding humans, I mean, humankind, and, you know, all of the movement that, you know, that are flowing between people, community, civilization, nation, and all of that. And to understand, if we take that and we put some tech in it, some digital innovation, what would happen? And I think that since the dawn of age, I mean, people, we are social beings, okay? So we live to communicate with other people, because
this is amazing. So I remember some of the folks that you were interviewing would also come as avatars. Sometimes you had real selves, sometimes it was avatar. Some of them were kind of NFTs too, I remember, right?
Yeah, it was fun, right? It was during lockdown era, and so having people like the amazing Teddy, who you just saw, Teddy Bahakbia, who's a thought leader in himself. So this is all the community building, like you're doing right now, and so we're having these conversations, about the sort of future we want to build together. But it was interesting at the time because you've got this fictional being, this character, but I'm actually just talking as myself. You didn't hear it in that clip, but I was just responding as if it was a podcast, which would be very separate to all the mythology of hearing Vinci sing and music videos and all of that. But it created a sense of authenticity, like, hey, there's a human behind this virtual being, that's interested in engaging in the present day zeitgeist and coming up with solutions with other thought leaders together about where do we want to steer this future, because tech can be scary. So let's communally find a way to sort out these problems and these ethical issues to bring society forward in a positive way.
Totally. Yes. And just complete the story and, give more data points. So amazing with that. So how this character has evolved? I know you started that way and you did this great show, but how has it evolved over the years? What type of milestones have you accomplished? What transformation has she had?
Yeah, I love that question. And just to honor a little bit more about that show earlier, in terms of, because if people are interested in the tech side of it, so, that was like all live, as broadcasting from Unreal Game Engine, which is a free program. But I was wearing motion capture to just, be Vinci live and using plugins like NDI for broadcasting reasons. So I could get Teddy in on the virtual screen in this music studio environment. And, having tools like that, like NDI, at the time, it allowed me to insert Vinci into Zoom or something. At the time, we were all forced onto Zoom during the pandemic era. But it was funny, I did a few music masterclasses, music production masterclasses. There was one with Luca Pretolesi, who's a Grammy Award-winning mixing mastering engineer from Studio DMI. And he mastered one of my tracks called I Liberate, which I produced. And he wanted to pull it apart for one of his webinar series, but he asked me to come and join as a guest. But I joined as Vinci from her virtual music studio, and I pulled up my Ableton session on the virtual screen in the virtual environment. So it's just showing creative ways of, bringing like an avatar identity to a whole new level and having that, that persistent real time between like a physical human and, a digital human. And so I had a lot of fun doing things like that. And that kind of got the Vinci name onto the conference circuit. And there's some hilarious stories, like doing one for Dubai Festival Arena for one of their conferences where I was zooming in live as Vinci. But this is the true nature of the metaverse. So I'm on this giant LED screen wall, but I was in Australia at the time and there was a thunderstorm. And so I was dealing with real-time, issues as an indie artist of like potential power cutoffs and things like that. But so it goes. That's what happens when you're hacking things together and making and breaking things. You put yourself on the line, right? It's a risk, but it was worth it because you could see people's reactions. This was around 2021, with real-time camera feeds in this festival arena of like this huge face of the Vinci avatar character beaming down at them, smiling, reacting to them and answering questions. And so it was a real example of like the potential of what is this metaverse concept, of this real-time telepresence, persistency, and engaging with other humans, but expressing yourself in a digital way. So I experimented with all of that years ago, but I obviously then, to answer your latest question, how did it all evolve? That all roads really lead to the stage for me, like being a music artist and performer. So those were all steps. And so the penultimate evolution was pulling together my live music stage show where I am actually Vinci on stage physically, like in costume. But I'm also doing live mocap, like with, sometimes cameras picking up and translating like AI feeds to the character behind me in real time, or I'm wearing sensor bands. But I also have like rendered animated content of Vinci, other characters, some dialogue, some beautiful immersive sort of visuals to the music that takes the audience on the whole hero's journey, Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. So, going through the whole emotional, narrative arc. And so the evolution for Vinci from a music standpoint was I'd make all these different songs, but they would all kind of mirror like sonic maps, different stages of Vinci's own internal and external journey as this character, and it added a sense of realism to her. And like, where was she, at that point in her universe, where, wow, and what was happening, and so that was all mirrored in the stage show. And I love big stage productions, like, I don't know, Michael Jackson or something like that, because the way I see a character like Michael is that he's like a character on stage, like he's some futuristic warrior, like there to uplift humanity. And his music's so diverse and varied. Like, you've got that beautiful joyful frequency of music that gets people dancing, then you've got those ballads, and then you've got world songs like Heal the World. And so you're following like Michael Jackson's journey, in that show. But that was like a North Star, but for Vinci in a science fiction universe. And so when I wrote the novel, which will come out soon, I also wrote the songs like an album that you'd open a different page on the novel and you'd know exactly what the experience is and what was happening at that point in the plot. And so I just think it's a different way of approaching being a music artist, and it's really empowering. It's almost like a next gen musical.
Yeah, I mean, this is so unique. Very few actually have all the skill sets that you have, and then putting it into work to actually make a cohesive story. So you write your music, you sing, you produce. You said I didn't know you were doing the animations too. What else? Like, so you write the novel. That's amazing.
Yeah. And then I started teaching myself disguise as well, which is it's virtual production and for XR stage shows. So like I did a virtual production accelerator program last year and started getting into Disguise Designer, which is the software that mirrors, the hardware with the LED volume walls, and seeing that in practice, that you can do it for, virtual production stage sets like The Mandalorian, or it could be for live XR and also live entertainment. So I'm always just, keeping my head, abreast all the different technologies that are out there to always be at the cutting edge. And even like these generative AI technologies as well, with Disguise as well, that are partners. You've got NERFs, which are neural radiance fields, which can take like 2D images and generate 3D environments. So we are in such an exciting time in like not only human history, but technological history. And as a creative, it's really it's a sandbox for the imagination, and it's becoming much more democratized because of these tools that are available. Like Unreal is free, AI is democratizing the playing field. But then on the other side of the coin with the democratization is then we've got the noise. And it's like, how do we cut through all of that noise, and create something that's truly impactful and meaningful? And I haven't fully worked it out yet, but the way I'm currently seeing it is that there's two forms of art with a capital A and lowercase art. And I put generative AI in the lowercase art field, but art with the capital A to me is something that's more transcendent. It's, it's human to human, processing the real human, emotional, authentic experience, and allowing people to feel moved and transformed, whether it's on an internal level or whether it's externally. And like, art can change people, and art can change, the future, it can help drive the future. That to me is art with a capital A. So that's why, what to me is the magic behind Vinci is that I've got this North Star mission in mind. And maybe this might help people if they're like thinking about coming up with things like in brands and identities, is what impact do you want to leave on the world? How, what are the top 3 characteristics, qualities, adjectives to describe your brand, and what is like the mission statement, And so for me, for Vinci, it's about uplifting the consciousness of humanity. So that's the North Star, but it's also about driving us forward towards a positive future and allowing everyone to empower themselves. And so they can see themselves in Vinci, they can see themselves in the story, and then it gives them the inspiration to become their best selves, their most authentic selves, their most empowered selves. And so all the tech that's out there falls under these bigger questions. And that's art with a capital A.
Wow, this is amazing. Mic drop. Like you just said so many amazing things. I think the beauty of your work is that you have both sides. You not only have the capital A art, but also you are doing all the cutting edge stuff to go above and beyond and stand out. And because you kind of always bring that human touch, like you did with your show, that makes it so unique and special. Because there are people that are behind the scenes doing art, but they're afraid to like put their whole self out there. So you're really doing amazing work. I want to show our amazing community audience one of your performances, because you just talked about live performance. Is that okay if I share that?
Yeah, sure. It's an iPhone clip, but let's do it.
It's just amazing. And I think it's where you got your award, right?
I think this clip was at the Athens XR Summit, so it wasn't in Monaco.
Oh, okay. All right, but amazing. So let's play it.
Watch me come alive, got the force in me, got the power inside. No one controls the mind of me. Yeah, freedom is alive. I'm super sunny. Watch me come alive, got the force in me, got the power inside. No one controls the mind of me. Freedom is alive. Simulate all time.
Wow, that was amazing. I love it. I mean, let's talk about your fashion. You're just so beautifully dressed up. You're beautiful without needing to do all of that. But I've been looking at your outfits, and they're just so amazing. So tell me how you go about also choosing your wardrobe and all of that.
I think for me, because during lockdown era, hiding behind the virtual avatar identity, I just couldn't wait to get out on stage because I've been on stage since I was 3 years old, and I like to entertain people. So as you can see, I'm quite a physical performer. Like I like to have that physicality and move my body, and sometimes it's choreographed, but sometimes it's just free flow. And so I really am becoming Vinci. And so when I was looking for outfits, obviously Vinci is like this sentient cyborg from the intergalactic future, but I also wanted it to have like this kind of crystalline mesh kind of aesthetic, something that was a bit divine in a way. And so I'm drawn to futuristic colors like silvers and things like crystals and crystalline kind of technology kind of vibe, because she really is from the future. So you kind of got to be like, you got to believe, that you're in this story, and you got to, it's acting on stage really. At the end of the day, I think, the joy of being able to play her on stage is that I'm playing a role, I'm playing Vinci, and you get to see her in all her different colors and emotions. So in that song, it doesn't show the full breadth, but it was called Super Sentient. So this is like the rising up kind of song in the show. So if you heard the lyrics, she was like saying, I'm super sentient, watch me come alive, I've got the force in me, I've got the power inside. So it kind of, you know, it's there, it's always there in the lyrics, and you create the sonic scape, you've got the outfit, you've got the visuals, you got the performative aspect, and you know, this show will keep scaling, you know, from even that clip. You know, I want to bring live musicians and dancers on stage, so it's a forever evolving stage show, but the core energetic component is there, which is that you believe that you're watching Vinci have that experience in this narrative, in this fictional universe, and so you've got her on the LED screen behind, but you've also got that emotional connection with the human being as well, which creates that interesting contrast.
Wow, that's amazing. And it's a beautiful thing because, again, you have all of these amazing talents, your beautiful voice, your music, your aesthetics, everything all coming together, plus what you see in the back. So this is just so amazing and so special. So tell us about your interaction with the community. And we do have a question about fan engagement. So how has your community and your fans kind of been following, and how has it been different since you started incorporating this multimedia storytelling and the digital avatar and everything?
Yeah, I mean, like when I started out, no one kind of knew there was a human being and a physical performer behind this project, even though that's who I am to my core. You know, as I said, I'm a live performer and entertainer, but I wanted to create a niche or something different at the time in 2018 to stand out. So that was the virtual character. And there's something about, first perceptions. So the first perception was you'd see this 6-foot Amazonian looking cyborg shell warrior. And I would produce all the music to that as well. And so I put out different music videos, which built this mythology around her. The first ever music video I released was quite industrial. It was called Citizen AI because I was interested in this concept. They gave citizenship to Sophia the robot, I think in Saudi. And so it was just an interesting thought. What does it mean if an AI is a citizen? And in 2018, having those thoughts, is quite forward thinking. So the first impression of Vinci was actually this running sequence that I did of her for the entire music video. And she looks like she's escaping from somewhere. It's in this futuristic kind of dystopian purple neon city. Unfortunately, I didn't send you that clip, but it's on my YouTube if you look up Citizen AI. And I positioned the storytelling at the beginning, because I didn't fully know at the time where I was taking this project, is that she's running away from centralized authorities, that she's gone rogue. And so automatically it creates a bit of fear, it creates a bit of excitement. Who is this character that's gone rogue? But then as the story progressed, I showed different aspects of her personality. There's a music video called Take You Higher, and you see a younger Vinci in the music video. So it's got that self-reflexivity kind of going on. And then I think I sent you a clip called...
Yeah, let me know which one you want to share. I actually pulled up the Citizen AI too, if you want to.
Yeah, if you want to play I Came, I Saw, I Conquered, I'm happy to speak to that.
Let me see. Okay, you want to do that one, so let me do that. And share my screen. All right, let's play.
We want it, I came, I saw, I conquered, we want it, I came, I saw, I conquered, we want it, I came, I saw, I conquered, we want it, I can't get what you wanted. I can't get what you wanted.
Wow. That was amazing. As expected. I mean, our audience is loving it. Everybody is loving it. Thank you so much for this. So tell us, what was the story? How did this all come together? Yeah, tell us more.
Thank you. I feel like when I put this video out, it really transformed perception of Vinci. That was quite you know, a milestone back then, because before we were building up to this, you know, she is this superhero, but here she's really, you know, kicking ass in the video. And so actually I wrote the music to the video. So this was ironic because most people like, you know, do a video after the music. But I actually had the whole storyboard mapped out from the beginning. The inspiration came from two visuals. One was Mission Impossible, when Tom Cruise was running down the building. I forgot which movie, but I'm sure we all remember that scene. It felt really iconic in that Mission Impossible movie, because, you know, that running down a building is not your everyday sort of thing. And there was this Nike ad. I can't remember which one it was called, but it was basically, it was some Italian girl fencer. And no matter what her circumstances were, she was going to fight for her dreams. And I was really moved by that Nike ad. And I thought, you know, Vinci, even though she's such a multidimensional character, I need to kind of create that Nike moment, you know, of going for it. Because if you are a true superhero warrior, you know, you need to have that in you as well, that ability to just go for it and stand up for yourself. And so that was the story behind that song, which is why I called it I Came, I Saw, I Conquered. So I had those inspirations, and then I mapped out the storyboard, and I actually made the video first. And I saw a question in the comments. It's not AI. That was very rudimentary Mixamo animation, like patching it together in Unreal Sequencer and playing with cameras and things like that. But I then wrote the music to the video, and I at the time I was you know, writing more pop music before. Well, I suppose before Citizen AI, but in the music production scene at the time, there weren't that many female bass music producers. And I remember a comment by somebody saying, stay in your lane and write pop music. And I thought that was just a brilliant, fantastic comment, because it was an opportunity to go, it's not about staying in your lane. It's, you know, I have this character and she's a superhero. So superheroes, you know, they are multidimensional, and you need to also have that kind of like that Nike go-getter kind of music. So I wasn't a traditional bass music producer at the time, but I very quickly taught myself sound design and made it map to those moments in the video, as if you're, you know, your own composer, I suppose, and you're mapping it to the visuals. But at the time it was, you know, it was independent, you know, electronic music production to you know, animation and Unreal Game Engine. But when I put it out, I knew it was the right decision, because all of a sudden people were drawn into this character and really believed for the first time that she was a superhero. And I snuck in there at the end of the video, if you could see, it's like mission free the people, status completed. And it was just building up this mythology. And when I did it at the time, I didn't know the full breadth of the Vinci story with the novel, but I did know that this was in alignment with her sort of character. She wants to help other people. She wants to serve, you know. And so, you know, it's shown in all different aspects, but then the story then obviously evolved to today, which I'm excited to, you know, release my debut album later this year with the novel and things like that, so people can get a full sense of this story.
As you can see, everybody is supporting your amazing work. You've been doing a great job. So tell us a little bit about the album and the novel, if you want to talk about to whatever extent you can, and then we can get into some other aspect of the great work you've done.
Sure. I don't want to share too much, but I did hint earlier about a moon thing going on. So I'm also a member of Interstellar Foundation, and it's a nonprofit organization, and we're working on the next golden record to space. So obviously, it's a science fiction story, you can imagine, you know, space is a huge theme, and there's other characters, and there's a whole world as well, and a narrative arc. So my hope is that people fall in love with the other characters just as much as understanding Vinci better from the novel. And so, you know, the novel will open up to different pages and will have different songs, like new unreleased songs and things like that. So to me, it's like the launch pad for the stage show. And I would love it to turn into a movie one day, you know, like actual Hollywood kind of movie. I was very inspired years ago by Alita Battle Angel. And, you know, that quality of filmmaking, you know, with, was it James Cameron, and the actress with motion capture and all of that. So that's where I see it going. So with the novel turning into, you know, a Hollywood level production. But I think the exciting thing about the age that we're in is with real-time technologies and platforms and gaming and involving the audience is there is a society in this novel that I would love, you know, the community and my fans to want to take on identities in the story and find a way to also, you know, maybe monetize, be rewarded for it, you know, be part of it, help shape, you know, that universe that Vinci, you know, visits, that society, because it's very essential to the plot line. That's as much as I can give away, but wow. This is where I see it heading in terms of franchises, because the way I see Hollywood at the moment is, you know, we're recycling old things in a sense, and, you know, we're creating all these new experiences. You know, people can create their avatars and, you know, create, you know, games and platforms like that, but they never really had a chance to help shape the narrative from the beginning. Like it's kind of already set out, and then also the studios also control the narrative in the traditional sense. So opening it up and having a more open blueprint model is the way I'd like to take this project and the way I see the future of like franchises. So what I'm doing with the novel is I'm creating a proposition of what this core closed IP blueprint is, because you need a North Star. Like you need to do the heavy lifting of the universe, world building, the core characters, you know, making it believable and having an emotional attachment to it. But once that's out in the universe, I want to open it up to people, because the story doesn't just end, you know, when the novel ends, if that makes sense. And also helping, you know, shape, you know, I call it like the floaters, swimmers, divers analogy, metaphorically, in terms of degrees of immersion. So the floaters, like they might read the novel, they might see the show, they might visit the virtual platform or the world, say it's a real-time, UE pixel streaming experience, I don't know. But the swimmers, one degree further is that, their avatars maybe, or they have an identity or a role to play in the story. And then the divers maybe are the people that are fully invested, like your traditional investors, let's say, but not just like from a financial way, but like in a cultural way, in a social way, and in an emotional way. So they are fully a part of and are being rewarded for being a part of the story on a much deeper dive sort of level. And because the novel will then be out by then, people will understand why they would want to be a part of this story, because it might connect to something in the real world. And that's why I also joined the Interstellar Foundation, the nonprofit, because it's about the next golden record to space, and like what message do we want to send to the stars as a collective human species? How do we want to represent ourselves? And so there's an incredible person that wrote the foreword to my novel. His name's Frank White, and he talks about the overview effect. So he interviewed all the astronauts, endorsed by NASA, about their experiences in space and seeing the Earth. And they would describe that profound cognitive shift of realization that, we are one human family. Why are we so divided? But also the overview effect, which is the term he coined in the space philosophy circles, is this idea of being spacefaring civilizations and being able to be that advanced enough as a human species that we don't fight each other anymore, but we are more invested in our time and energy into preserving human life and biological life, and taking that beyond Earth as well, into other colonies. So those sorts of ideas is so much more than music. And so I'm connecting the dots here on a very high dimensional level. And this is what I said earlier about art with a capital A, that this is the intention behind all of this work that I'm, investing my time and energy into. And I hope that, people will see that and want to be a part of it in their own way, because that, we're all unified in this same, collective mission for humanity.
Amazing. Another mic drop. This thing. I mean, I can't wait for the novel to come out and the world to explore. And I love how you are bringing all these different components, co-creation with your community, and, multimedia storytelling, all these elements to just make your work amazing, and then make your audience and your fans part of this. That goes back to the question we had from Gabriel about your fan engagement. And I love how you categorized, the audience, the community, and how they're going to involved with this story. I can even see a game being created. If you ever thought about that, I would love that to come to life too, because that's the true, kind of element of bringing the audience as part of the story and having them define their narrative as well. Are you thinking of doing a game potentially?
Yeah, definitely. It's all on the roadmap. Obviously, there's just one of me. But what I've done is created that sort of core IP to be able to branch out into all directions. And I've done a few demos, examples of package projects. And there's so much you can do with Unreal Engine, from VR to AR to some real-time experiences. I think for me, the biggest thing, story. When people are hooked in on the story, they'll want to, be present in the game. You know what I mean? And I grew up loving Imagineers. I would go to all the theme parks, and I just would be in awe that people as a living could design these experiences for the purpose of joy. And so when I wrote the novel, I actually was intentionally thinking, if this became a theme park, not only, let's say it was a game experience, but if people could physically experience this, are they going to have a good time? Are they going to be inspired? So this is where I want it all to head, and this is what's really exciting. It's about engaging you and being in that state of joy and feeling like also escapism, but positive escapism, because you're stepping into the future, and then you'll take that back to your present, and you'll be like, I've seen the future and it's super bright.
Yes.
So why can't it be like that?
Yes, and I love how you're so forward thinking, even going as far as having a theme park. That's just like unbelievable. Dream big. That's the theme. I love it. And I want to again thank our audience. They're so engaged and giving you a lot of flowers. They are supporting you so much. I would love to hear a little bit about the challenges, so then we can kind of venture into kind of what needs to happen in the future of this live entertainment, and how our amazing audience can kind of have takeaways from this. So tell us a little bit about the challenges. Obviously, you mentioned you're only one person, a superhero, doing all of this by yourself. But what else kind of came along the way, and kind of what lessons you have learned from?
Yeah, I'd say the one you said, being like a sole operator in that sense, is the biggest challenge. But you do find lovely people along the way, and in your journey, if you have that strong North Star and vision. So when I started this project out, the music industry didn't understand at all why I would want a digital avatar identity. It was quite hilarious. I got told not to call myself Vinci. I have it in emails from labels, like, don't call yourself that. Don't have an avatar. It's amazing what people can say, but I think that is the challenge. It's other people's thoughts and perceptions about what you should do and what's best for you. But if you really believe in something with all your heart and soul, that is the voice you should listen to. And it might not happen straight away, but trust me, if you put in the time and you put in the work and you really believe it with all your heart, that the universe will start aligning for you. Which, if you told me when I was writing the novel that it would be sent to the moon, I wouldn't have believed anybody. But it's about the power of the imagination, because you think that it's just in your head and it can't become a reality, but the truth is anything is possible. We have all the tech tools available to us. So that is number one, the biggest challenge. It is that. But two, we are in a landscape of artificial intelligence, and there's all these ethical considerations to take into account in terms of misrepresentation, even the post-mortem experience of protecting a brand's legacy and having like these persistent real-time AI beings on these platforms that are conversing with people. We have, issues of trust. So I kind of had those insights as I started this project back in 2018, after reading, books like The Singularity is Near by Ray Kurzweil, because I saw this is the crazy landscape we're going to get into. But that's why I decided to not just hide behind the virtual character, but to be like I am with you now, talking authentically and showing my real human self, because you can then associate that with the character, and you have that high level of trust. I think, for me personally, it's hard for me to relate to just virtual avatar characters that, are created by these large companies, or maybe they're just AI. So I think, the technology is wonderful and it should be applauded and celebrated. I just think in this landscape of AI, we are going to gravitate more and more towards the human experience. So that's also why I created her to be a super sentient AI superheroine. Like, I had this image of her kneeled like a knight, like kneeling down with angel wings. I'm not sure if you've seen the digital art cover, but it's this concept of she's at service to humanity. So my thoughts are, if this AI supermind ever kind of consumed Vinci content and knew it was created by a human, it would self-reflexively go, we should be at service to humanity. We should have love for humanity. So it's kind of like a feedback loop in itself. So I know that's a bit matrixy, but that is, you know, to answer your question, one of the challenges is this is the landscape we're dealing with.
Yes, I mean, being an innovator in this space is not easy, especially the music industry. And I love how wholesome you made this character to be, and then grounded in reality and authenticity. So it's just like unbelievably good. Amazing. So tell us about your predictions of this space. Beyond the amazing work that you're doing, how do you see all of these, elements evolving, and where is the future of live entertainment, music industry, and all of that?
Ask me the big questions. I love it. I suppose the MSG sphere is a good window into the future, even though that's, you know, large scale budget. In terms of entertainment, we're, you know, as you know, going more towards immersive experiences. You know, the companies like Disguise and Holoplot, spatial audio, Dolby, you know, more installation type experiences. But I think the real future is gamification in all aspects with AI. And so having that ability to have also self-sovereignty over your identity, you know, it creates that trust with, you know, you are who you say you are in a digital landscape. So there's going to be a more pressing need for SSI projects. And also in terms of AI, you know, I see the future like having private personal assistants. So, you know, we have like, you know, Siri and Alexa and things like that, you know, large scale corps, you know, sort of AI assistants. But what would a true like PPA kind of look like? And how would they converse, you know, well, and they're connected to your SSI, your sovereign identity and, you know, wealth, I suppose. And how would they converse with, you know, other PPAs? So that's kind of like, you know, in terms of the sense of what the future human experience could look maybe or feel like. But then in terms of entertainment, I also see that connected to one's SSI, people could have multiple representations, expressions, avatar identities. So let's take Vinci, for example. So I've launched the novel. There's this whole science fiction franchise. You are coming to a Vinci stage show. Let's say you have ownership of an avatar character identity in this futuristic society, and this is connected to your SSI, and so you attending you know, a Vinci stage show, you know, there's a way that you can get rewarded in some sort of aspect, or maybe contribute live in real time to the experience, whether it feels, you know, joyful and fun like a theme park kind of experience, or, you know, whether it's contributing to your own natural talents, whether it's art or music. But it's all within, let's say, the law of this universe and the theme. So it's what we are seeing today. You know, it's all the elements are there. They're just quite disjointed and, you know, we have different platforms and things like that. So it's about bringing it all together in a more fluid, seamless user experience way that feels fun, that feels safe, that feels natural, and also super creative. And also this concept of non-invasive brain-computer interfaces. It will create a world where language won't be a barrier. You know, we'll all be, in a sense, telepaths. We'll be all co-creating in real time. I don't want this sense of like we're a big Borg mind. That sounds really dystopic. It's more the idea that we are, you know, we got our own free will, we got individuated consciousness, but we're all, if we choose to, actively contributing and co-creating in real time and have a more profound understanding and sense of one another. We don't see each other as separate. We see each other as our family, our universal human family. And how can we then express that creatively, I think, is the future.
Wow. All of this amazing mission and vision that you have just makes everything so much better. So I love it. Before we get into what's next and how people can support you, is there any of the other videos you want me to share? Anything that is, you know, coming out or you want to emphasize on?
I think we'll just wait and see and leave it there.
Oh,
yeah.
Sure. So yes, tell us more about how people can support you. kind of be part of this journey. And, I know the novel, the world, everything, we're all excited about it. So tell us more how we can all support you.
Well, thank you. Well, I suppose stay tuned on socials. If you hear an announcement of a Vinci stage show, don't be a stranger. Come and experience the stage show. You'll love it. And I suppose when it's all out and released, the novel, feel free to reach out to me and express ways that you would like to contribute to the story. I'm certainly coming up with roadmaps for ways to engage people, in next gen sort of ways. So that's how you can join the Vinci Project and the mission. And it's all guided by something beyond. As I said, it's a message to the stars. So having that sort of mindset will be in alignment with what I'm doing with Vinci.
Beautiful, amazing. We had several questions from the audience. I don't know which one you want to talk about. We had the ethical frontier, which you kind of talked about your mission and technological advancement, fan engagement. If there's anything else you would like to kind of leave us with, feel free to share now.
I would say write your own story, write your own narrative. You are your own thoughts, literally create the universe. You are co-creating with the creator. And don't be afraid to, learn new skills and technologies. That's been my own personal hero's journey as Samantha Tauber for Vinci. And this is what's led to new doors opening and opportunities. So, feel empowered, be brave, and trust that the universe has your back.
Wow. And work with the community, as you said, co-create with your community. That's so beautiful. This was amazing. You are such an inspiration, and I can't wait where your journey continues. We had so many great comments from our community. They are giving you flowers and love. And yes, you're amazing. Thank you so much to our amazing audience for being with us. Sharad, Ian, Gabriel, and Walter, Warren, you are all amazing. Thank you for being this part of this great show. Please join us again next week on Tuesday. Our next guest is Isabel Palumbo. She is going to talk about AR marketing and advertising. She's been an amazing creator, and we will be seeing some of her beautiful work, especially in the world of CGI and AR filters and beautiful work that she's done. Thank you so much, Tammy, again. Vinci is such a great character and such a great story. And thank you for, accommodating this in your busy schedule with all the awards and all the projects and everything that is going on in your life. So grateful for you to be part of this. Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and congratulations to everything you're doing and the beautiful community you're creating here. So thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful rest of your day. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.